Yo, 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 what up?
What's up,
What
people?
it do? Beautiful people. Welcome to episode 8.
Ocho.
Episode
Yep,
Ocho.
Ocho.
Um, episode 8 of Deep. Oh, no, not that one. Bear
Whoa.
Down Breakdown.
Hey, man, we done
Said a
been
bad
through
word.
like 17,000 podcast names, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
that was the first time it happened, and I was just waiting for it to happen. It was inevitable. I get my kids' names confused all the time. So I was bound to get the podcast names confused.
Facts. Facts. I get my kid name confused, and I just got one, so every day he's something
Bruce,
different. Right.
uh,
Corey. Dang. Uh, Matt. No. Jaden. Come here.
you don't even know him, Matt.
Right.
um, yes, welcome everyone to episode 8 of Bear Down Breakdown. We want to thank anyone who is watching us live, per usual.
Appreciate it.
We deeply appreciate you watching us live. Make sure you follow us on our socials and subscribe to the YouTube channel, whatever. We really appreciate you. We appreciate you if you're listening as well. We just appreciate any kind of support.
No doubt.
We love y'all for it. Anyway, we got a very I was gonna say meaty, but that might not be the right word.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, pause on that one. Thick 2C's episode for you.
We got a thick ass episode.
Oh man, we got a lot to talk about. Is
We
basically
do,
what I was
we do.
trying to say. We're gonna react to the team captains who were announced today. Matt Eberflus decided to go with 4 team captains for the entire season, and then 1 honorary captain that he'll switch up every week. We'll announce those if you haven't heard those yet and react. We have a fill in the blank kind of questionnaire article that I read on the Chicago Tribune written by Dan Wiederer, guy who covers the Bears. And I thought it'd be interesting if me and Bruce kind of give our answers to those fill in the blank questions for the Bears this season. And then, of course, we're going to preview week 1. Finally, it is game week for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
We will preview the week 1 game against the 49ers and talk about that. Give our predictions, win or loss, score, matchups, whatever there be. Anyway, as always, to begin the episode, before we talk any Bears, I have to ask you, B, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So I got the number 1 pick in my fantasy football draft.
Wow.
Never in my life have I gotten the number 1 pick.
Really?
But of course, no, never.
How many drafts you've done? I feel like you
Bro.
do like 8 drafts a year.
Yeah. It's about that. I'm only in 3.
Only 3.
Every year I tell myself, this is it. I'm not doing anymore. And I end up in 6. So but it's always a silver lining to it. And I'm in a couple of money leagues, but the league that I got the first pick in, it's not a money league. So yeah. So it's just, it's for bragging rights. But
okay,
who cares about bragging rights? You want money. And the fact that I got the number 1 pick, it's just like, okay, that's cool. But if I win the championship, I don't have anything to show for it except
at least like a trophy involved. There should be
it's
something.
nothing. It's
That's
for
they make
for
fantasy
bragging
football
rights.
trophies now. Do you know that?
They
like
do.
They have websites where you can customize a trophy.
Yeah.
To make for.
So that's the highlight of my week is the fact that I got the number 1 pick, but it's not for anything.
Yeah.
It's for the love of the game.
That's for the love of fantasy.
Right? We out there every Sunday giving it our all for fantasy football.
Fantasy football.
Yeah. Well, how you been, bro? Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I've been all right. I just want to give a couple shout outs today.
Okay.
Before we get started, I want to give a shout out firstly to my goddaughter. Julissa Chi Rivera. Shout out to my cousin Julian, it's his daughter.
What up,
It's her
Julian?
first birthday today. So I want
Oh,
to give a shout out to her.
yeah.
Um, she's adorable. I love her so much. Want to give her a shout out. And then shout out to our guy, friend of the podcast, Greg Braggs,
Meow,
who
meow, meow, meow.
got
Shout out
hired
to
by
Greg.
CHGO,
Yeah.
an awesome sports network. They cover all Chicago sports, CHGO, Bears and Bulls and Blackhawks and Cubs and Sox, everything. And he is on the Bears team, and it is well deserved.
Yep.
He's been on our Deep Dish and Sports podcast. We've been on his Brags and his Stands podcast. A lot of mutual love between us and him and everything that he's done. You see the work that he puts in. He's constantly
Definitely.
going to training camps, and
Yep.
before they had those strict video laws, he would put up these great training camp videos that we
Mhm.
all relied on to see how good the Bears were doing in training camp. So shout out to Greg Braggs.
Congrats,
Happy
brother.
happy for you, man. That's
Yep.
goals. Hopefully
Yep.
me and B can get there one day.
Yes, yes. And also shout out to Julian and his beautiful daughter. You know, you
Yes.
never want to say your goddaughter, Julian's daughter, is beautiful. She's a princess. You never want to say kids are ugly.
Yeah.
You never want to say that. But then you look at Julian's daughter and you look at other kids and you just like, guess God went to the bathroom with. No, I'm just playing. Let me stop. No, but Julian's daughter, she's beautiful. I saw the
She's
picture
gorgeous.
that you had up of her, man, and that's a beautiful thing. 1 year old. I want to go
1
back to being 1
year old.
Life was so simple.
I know,
Yeah.
right? All you had to worry about was eating, pooping, and
That's it. And
sleeping.
Yep. And everybody says you're adorable and you cute.
Yeah, you can't
That's
do
the
nothing
life,
wrong.
man. Yeah.
You slap your brother in the face, which my son Noah has done to Zeke multiple times, and you just got to tell Zeke, suck it up, because he's a
That's
baby.
it.
He can't do nothing wrong. So
That's
yeah, I
it.
wish I was 1 year old. That'd be great.
For real, man.
Slapping people and getting away with it.
You do that these days, yeah, you might do some time. So can't do that.
Yeah. But no, shout out to Julissa. Happy first birthday, baby girl.
No doubt.
All right, let's get into some Bears football.
Let's do it.
Foosball.
Let's do it.
Matt Eberflus. This has kind of been hyped up, I feel like, for the last couple weeks. But the Bears have finally released their team captains for this year, and I feel like it's been hyped up by Bears fans because of the way that Matt Nagy did it last year, and it was just he changed it every week. And then of course that famous game against Seattle where he made Jermaine Ifedi a captain, and I don't even think Jermaine Ifedi was starting, or he was like inserted into the starting lineup for no reason, just because he was playing his former team, Seattle Seahawks, and like Bruce Irvin, who was on the team for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. For 3 hours, he was on the team, and he was the captain.
Yeah, and it was the week after Justin Fields got hit dirty, and then Tevin Jenkins went to his defense, and Jermaine Ifedi was the one who told him, "No, don't do that. Like, what's wrong with you?"
Mm-hmm.
And then the week after, Matt Nagy names Jermaine Ifedi captain, the guy who didn't really stick up for his quarterback. So I feel like just to kind of give people reason as to why they forget why this is so hyped up. I feel like Bears fans have been waiting for this because Matt Nagy just failed at it horrendously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Matt Eberflus, we were all anticipating to see how he would go about naming team captains. Would he just make, captains for the whole season and keep them the same captains, or would he change them out every week the way Matt Nagy did? What was he going to do? He ended up making 4, like I said in the beginning, 4 captains for the entire year, and then 1 honorary captain that he'll switch out every week, which I think, in my personal opinion, that's the best way to do it. That just makes the most sense.
Right.
So the captains that he made, or that he named, are the 4 ones that be staying captains all year are Justin Fields, of course, Cody Whitehair, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought it was going to be Um, I thought it was going to be David Montgomery, but
Mhm.
Cody Whitehair, which makes sense. You can to have one guy on the offensive line makes
Right.
a lot of sense.
Right.
Roquan Smith, of course, on defense, and Robert Quinn.
Okay.
So you have three veterans who were named captain, and then Justin Fields, the old second-year quarterback that a lot of people think is a bust already, captain.
Yeah.
What were your immediate reactions to seeing that? Were you surprised at all? Were you not surprised?
No, looking at the names, I really wasn't surprised. Those are guys that, outside of Justin Fields, Roquan Smith, proven, Cody Whitehair, proven. Not saying Cody Whitehair is an all pro, but he's solid, and he's the old man on that offensive line now. Far as his experience with the Bears, I know they got some other guys that is Riley Reef starting.
No.
No. Okay. So he with that offensive line, he is the old guy. And then Robert Quinn is another veteran, proven guy. So no, none of the names surprise me. Of course, you have to name Justin Fields. Like the city of Chicago is on Justin Fields' shoulders. So that's just one of the things that I'm not surprised by that. I like what uh, Coach Eberflus said. He says it was important to name permanent captains as a function of leadership. And, you look at last year, man, and it was just so confusing, right? It was so confusing.
Yeah.
So to hear something that makes so much sense, right? And just naming permanent captains, it's almost like refreshing just because it's common sense. And for the season opener, the honorary captain is going to be David Montgomery. So acknowledging a guy like David Montgomery, who has had a solid career with the Bears and looks to be poised for a solid season this year. That was important as well. So I'm just it's good. It's good. It's good. Now let's just get out there and play. And hopefully these guys, the four captains that they name, like they you I'm not going to be they're going to be very productive on the field. Barring injury, those guys I believe is going to be very productive. But leadership is not just what you do on the field; it's what you do off the field. It's how
Right.
you conduct yourself, in
Mhm.
practice. It's how you conduct yourself in the meetings. It's how you conduct yourself when the lights aren't on. Just being family man, just being an everyday citizen. Like that's huge. That's huge, and especially for football players, where you hear like it just seemed like once a week somebody was getting in trouble. So I'm hoping that these guys just kind of keep everybody in line, be that example, and congratulations to him being named captain of a professional football team. Like we look at it and we're just like, oh, that's cute, but that's something. If I'm that player, that's respect.
It's an
That's
honor,
respect.
especially when it's your peers that are voting for you as a captain.
Exactly.
The players
Exactly.
voted for
Yeah.
who was going to be a captain, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that's
it's an honor.
huge. That's huge, man. So congratulations to those guys.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And yeah, like you said, David Montgomery was named the honorary captain this week, which is great to hear because, like I said, I thought he was going to be one of the other offensive captain. But the honorary captain, I think, is great too. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, I love the way Matt Eberflus is doing it, and I think it's going to instill confidence, obviously, in Justin Fields, which I don't think he lacks any confidence, but
Right.
for him to go, like we said in the beginning of this podcast, with in episode one, for him to go in this year in the offseason to know that you are the starter, you are the guy, you are the quarterback, and then now to be named team captain is just that next step, that next uh, boast of confidence that your team and the franchise has in you. So, which is something that he just completely, I'm not going to say lacked last year, but they definitely didn't help his confidence last year with how they did things.
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, happy for him. Let's move on. Let's move on to this questionnaire fill in the blank article that I found on Chicago Tribune, written by I said Dan Wiederer, but it's written by actually Brad Biggs, Colleen Kane, who covers the Bears for the Tribune, and Dan Wiederer. So all three of them. But basically, it's just 5 questions for the Bears entering Week 1, and it's just a sentence. There's a blank. You fill in the blank with whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
So, Bruce, have you seen this article at all? Have you
I
read
have
it?
not. I have not.
Okay.
So this
Okay.
is
So
going
this
to
is
be
going to be
fun.
this is going to
Yes.
be a straight surprise for you.
And,
All right.
and I was trying to pull it up, and I'm not quick enough. Yeah. So here we go.
Straight, just blank reaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's do it. All right. First question is, or I shouldn't say question, just sentence.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, guys, I'm feeling a little under the weather, so if I sound weird, I apologize. Our mics are very good at picking up, you know, uh, they're just very good mics. So if you're sick, you can tell, and I can tell by hearing my damn voice. So I apologize. Anyway, question 1: the best way to describe Ryan Poles' first Bears roster is blank. The best way to describe Ryan Poles' first Bears roster is blank. Fill in the blank, Bruce. What you got?
Consistent.
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 Ooh. It doesn't have to be one word. It
Right.
can be a phrase. It can be
Okay.
whatever. Doesn't have to be one word, but
Yeah.
consistent.
And
I like
I
that.
say consistent because, and we talked about this in the last show, and we've talked about this in all the shows. Like, this is what he said this from jump. He said when he in his first interview, he told you exactly what his plan was, and he has been consistent in the way he went about building this roster. And these guys are hungry, and we talked about how they all of them are playing hard. They all are playing as if they have something to prove, and so Ryan Poles has told us from jump, like, this is how I want to build a roster. I want to build it through the draft. I want to get a lot of no names in here and just let these guys compete. And this is exactly what he's done. So that's the word that I want to go with, is consistent.
I like it.
With one
it,
T.
I like it. One T.
Yeah. I don't know how to spell consistent.
Consistent.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 T's.
It's 2. Okay. And people in listening like, oh, so he got a master's degree, huh? So they just handed out degrees to everybody. And I'm just kidding, guys. I know how to spell it.
Oh God. Okay, my answer would be low risk, high reward, which is something that we have obviously been talking about on this podcast ever since the first episode, and how we saw Ryan Poles and how he was doing things. The best way to describe Ryan Poles' first Bear roster is low risk, high reward. It's just, I mean, if you've been paying attention at all to what the Bears have been doing, you understand why I answered that way. But it's a bunch of 1-2 year deals in terms of the guys that he signed in free agency, which was a lot of them, because he had a lot of, it wasn't just holes to fill. The dude had so many roster spots to fill.
Right.
Because there were so many free agents that were gone after this past year. So, and like you said, a bunch of guys that are hungry. So they're coming in on short-term deals with not a lot of money, with something to prove. And I think it's a smart way to start your first year in a rebuild with a franchise quarterback and a whole lot of crap to fix, because he was dealt a crappy hand. That's a lot of thing. That's the thing that a lot of people who try to critique what Ryan Poles has done so far, what they forget is the hand that Ryan Poles was dealt. Like, he had to sign a bunch of dudes because he had so many roster spots to fill.
Right.
It's so much dead money that Ryan Pace just kind of pushed to to the end of his contract, or when he thought he was going to get fired, or whatever the case was, whatever Ryan Pace's thinking was. Who knows? I'm not going to try to understand his brain. But yeah, Ryan Poles had a lot of crap to deal with. So
Definitely.
what he's done so far has been kind of remarkable. When you really think about it. Okay, question 2. One player I expect to make a significant jump this season is blank. Now, low-hanging fruit, obviously Justin Fields. Let's try to pick someone outside of Justin Fields. So one player I expect to make a significant jump this season is blank.
Jalen Johnson,
Oh,
cornerback, 3rd year, I believe.
okay.
Right, 3rd year.
Yes.
Okay, 3rd year. I love his confidence. I love Jalen Johnson's confidence. He looks at himself as being one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And whether you agree or disagree, he had a tough season last year. We remember his rookie year; it was solid. But I just love his confidence, and I just think that goes. You got to have a short memory when you play cornerback because you're gonna get burnt. You're gonna get burnt unless your name is Darrell Reeves or Deion Sanders. Unfortunately, you are going to get beat as a cornerback. But it's how you react to the very next play. You see what I'm saying? That just separates, I think, the good ones, the great ones from the below average or the worst, right? And so I look at Jalen Johnson, I'm just like, I love his confidence because we know he has the skills. And so it's just a matter of him just putting it all together. And here we go, the contract. That contract, that rookie contract is getting ready to run out real soon. So he has something to prove. And we know what he can do. We've seen it. We've seen him go against some of the best wide receivers in the league, and he held his own. He held his own. And so I'm just looking at this season as a possible Pro Bowl, maybe Pro Bowl, but I look for him to have a bounce back season. I think he's gonna solidify himself as one of the top corners in the game because the confidence is there, the skill is there. I think now he just puts it all together, and I think this year under this new defense, he's gonna get it done. So that's my guy, Jalen Johnson. I'm rooting for him. Cuzzo, that's my cousin.
Cuzzo. I like that. I like that answer. Mine is going to be Cole Kmet.
Shout out to Notre Dame, even though they lost. It's cool. But shout out to I love Cole Kmet. That's my guy.
Yeah, I loved him coming out of college. I love the draft pick. Bruce remembers how many times I complained about how Matt Nagy didn't use him his rookie year and even last year. Excuse me. But I think this year he is going to have a huge year under Luke Getsy's offense. We saw evidence of that during the preseason. Lots of different kind of looks that Matt Nagy is giving him, especially seems like he's going to be a weapon in the end zone. And listen, Cole Kmet, as much scrutiny as he's been under since he came here, being a second round draft pick, being the first tight end drafted in that draft, he has every single physical tool to be a dynamic tight end in this league. He's
Definitely.
big. He can catch the ball. I think he does have the ability to block because of his size. Obviously, it's something that he's got to work on, especially in this stretch zone run scheme that Luke Getsy wants to run. But I think he has every single physical trait, a lot like Justin Fields, to be one of the best. Yes, I said it, one of the best at his position. There's a reason why he was so highly scouted. There's a reason why he was the first tight end taken in that draft. So, yes, I think Cole Kmet is going to have a monster breakout year compared to his last couple of years. And I think he's going to be a big safety blanket for Justin Fields. I think Luke Getsy is going to take advantage of the versatility that he has, both as a tight end and as a pass catcher. So I think he's going to have a huge year. And you know what? I'll go ahead and say it. This is my bold prediction this year.
Okay.
I think Cole Kmet makes the Pro Bowl. I think Cole Kmet makes a Pro Bowl. Obviously, a lot has to go right. There might
Right.
have to be a couple of injuries in the NFC in terms of the tight ends because you have a lot of good NFC tight ends. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think Cole Kmet makes the Pro Bowl this year.
I'm not gonna root against you. That's been my guy. That's been my guy. I'm a huge Cole Kmet fan. And here's the thing, like as much as he has been scrutinized, granted, he didn't score a touchdown last year. But I don't want to put that all on him. It's about scheme, right? It's about
Yep.
making sure you get your best player, especially in the red zone, especially a tight end at his size, 6'6", 260. It's important to put him in the right position for him to score. And of course, those guys, they didn't do that. But he had over 600 yards in receiving. He had 60. He had, I want to say, close to 60 catches last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he put up solid numbers in that system and under that whatever, if you want to call it an offense, by all means, go ahead. He had over 600 yards. So, I mean, let's say you add another 200 yards. You could build off that.
Yeah,
In
I think
this
he's
new
going to be
offense,
flirting with 1,000 yards this season.
exactly. And I guarantee you, he has more than 0 touchdowns this year.
Oh yeah, without a
He's
doubt.
gonna, the over and under on that. I'll
Oh
go
yeah,
with the over. So
yeah,
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 that's a
yeah.
good pick. I like that. I like that.
Thank you. Next, fill in the blank question. The player. This one's interesting. The player with the most at stake this season is blank.
Roquan Smith.
Hmm.
Roquan Smith. I mean, you made a lot of noise in the off season. You made and look, you was trying to get paid. I get it. But now you're betting on yourself. You're betting on yourself. So yeah, that's enough said. Enough said. We was with the Roquan drama. We was, we was on Twitter trying to figure out when he coming to practice, what's going on. Are we going to trade him? He's rejecting. They offered him a contract, he rejected, and then at the end of the day, he just decided to bet on himself. So yeah, Roquan, the spotlight's on you, brother. Hopefully you look. Hopefully he has an amazing season, right? Where it puts the Bears in a position where it's like, man, this dude's been so dominant. You know, NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Now, okay, that might be pushing it a little bit, but we just put the Bears in a position where it makes them question if they want to pay you this much money because of the season that you have. But to your question, yeah, Roquan Smith for me.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I think that's the most obvious answer, and I'm not going to. That was going to be my answer, but just
Okay.
to kind of switch it up,
I took it.
I'm going to say a guy who went through kind of a similar dramatic offseason, and I'm going to say Tevin Jenkins.
I like that.
I
Dang,
know
that's
he. I know he's a young
That's good.
player. He's
Yeah.
in his second year, so he has a whole career ahead of him.
Mhm.
But it's obvious that this regime does not give a damn about where he was drafted,
Yeah.
about how he was scouted, about anything. I mean, a lot of very trusted Bears reporters, even though Ryan Poles came out personally and said that they didn't try to trade Tevin Jenkins, I certainly think that they were listening to calls
Mhm.
and were certainly open to trading him. So again, he was drafted by Ryan Pace. So this is not a player that was picked by this regime. They inherited him, just like they
Right.
inherited Justin Fields and a lot of the other younger guys here. But yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that this regime is perfectly willing to move on from Tevin Jenkins. And it's going to say a lot about you as a player if this team, who needs offensive linemen, can't find a spot for you and decides to move on from you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are trying to put that on Ryan Poles as a negative thing on him, but it's a negative thing on Tevin Jenkins. What about that guy? Like,
Yeah.
what about him
Right.
is
Right.
making Ryan Poles, a former offensive lineman, so he has a
Exactly.
soft spot for those
Yeah,
guys,
definitely.
not want you on your squad?
Yep.
Like, there's got to be something going on there. especially so young in his second year. So I think Tevin Jenkins, if he doesn't work out here, then I mean, I'm sure he was highly scouted for a reason. A lot of people haven't had him as a first round draft pick, but um, yeah, the dude needs to, I think, have a good year this year
I agree. That's a
because
good one. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
that. I like
thank you,
that.
thank you. So we'll see what happens
Yeah.
with Tevin.
The thing with Tevin Jenkins, and as you alluded to, like, I mean, the physical. I mean, oh my God, bro!
Yeah,
Like, we went to practice and we saw that dude like up close, and I'm confident in my sexuality as a man, but God, like, good Lord, brother, that's a big boy.
that's
You
a
know what
grown
I'm
ass
saying?
man.
Like
That's a
that
grown ass man.
that's a grown man. But yeah, and so the physical is there, like, but and we always talk about that is the mental aspect of the game is probably the toughest, and I think hopefully this off season and everything that he's been through, I hope it humbled him. I hope it humbled him to the point where this thing ain't guaranteed. You got to go out there and you got to prove that you belong. I don't care if you was drafted, and the regime and this new regime is showing him this. We don't care how high you was drafted. You got to go out there and you got to prove it. So that's a good one, man. Dang, bro, I should have took that one.
No,
Should have thought of that
Roquan
one.
Smith definitely has a lot at stake this,
Yeah,
this year. A lot of money at stake.
true, true.
Um, okay, so this next one is my season record projection for the Bears is now blank. Now that all the offseason moves are made, we've seen the depth chart
Hmm.
to start the season. We're in game week. Everything is done. Everything is set.
Yep.
So your record projection for the Bears this season is now blank.
7-10. Say 7-10. They will not be the worst team in the league, as many national outlets are saying.
Yeah.
That team in Seattle is some type of special trash. Um, Atlanta is city of Chicago trash. And if you go in the alleys of city of Chicago, it's scary. It's really scary. So I say all that to say the Bears are not the worst team, and bro, like, I am so impressed about the way how hard this team plays, and that's going to keep them in a lot of games, especially against the top tier teams. But that's also going to allow them to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. And they got some teams on their schedule that they should
Oh yeah.
win. They should win. And I know as a Bears fan, it's hard to guarantee wins, but it's just something special about this team with the way they play and how hard they play and how hungry they are, that they could get to 7 wins. And if look, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to talk playoffs with this team. All I'm saying is if the ball bounces a certain way and you get some luck here and there, I'm just saying. But I'm going to be very realistic and just hang my hat on that that they'll get 7 wins. Shout out to my brother Sam. He's going to be at the game. Send me some pictures, bro.
Hey,
That's
yeah,
what's up.
yeah, sure. Um, yeah, I like that. 7-10. I think that's completely understandable. I'm gonna give them one more win.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna say 8-9.
Okay.
Um, I
Okay.
think they're gonna surprise a lot of people this year. I think it's gonna be one of those years where they're going to start off hot,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe towards the end of the year, Luke Getsy's offense kind of gets maybe not completely figured out, but he's going to have to make a lot of adjustments. Again, this is his first time being an offensive coordinator, first time being a play caller.
Right.
So I think he's going to catch a lot of people by surprise in the beginning of the year. Then towards the end of the year, it's going to kind of level off. Um, but yeah, I think the Bears can sneak out 8 wins. Like you said, it the schedule is nothing to be scared of. I
Exactly.
mean,
Yep.
even the division, like I think, in my personal opinion, the Minnesota Vikings are the best team. I think we could
Oh,
possibly. Oh yeah,
really?
oh yeah. I think the Vikings have the best overall team, offense and defense. I think they have the
Wow.
best overall team.
Okay.
A lot of people,
Yeah.
there's people picking Kirk Cousins to be the MVP this year, which is I
Well,
think that's a little bit too far.
yeah,
That's
yeah. Well, I mean, they got
that's
the offensive weapons. I mean,
yeah. They got a brand new coach, just like we do.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Wow.
think they are the best overall team in the division. I think they win the division.
Mm.
Um, yeah, take that, Packers fans.
Boom.
Earn. No, I think they are going to be the toughest out in the division. I think the Packers and the Lions, they don't scare me. They don't scare me.
Mm.
And I think we could split those two games, and then the rest of the schedule is just it's kind of not scary. It's kind of soft. It's kind of when you get that new foam mattress bed, it's nice and soft. That's our schedule. Um,
Sleep tight.
yeah, I think we're gonna win 8 games, and I'm not saying that's gonna mean playoffs. I'm not saying we're gonna sneak
Right.
into the wild card.
Right.
We may
Right.
not even make the playoffs because you still got the Packers in our division. They're still who they are with Aaron Rodgers. The Detroit Lions are expected to be better this year, but they're still the Lions, so who
Right.
knows? Uh, so yeah, I mean there could be 3 8-win teams in this division. So we'll see. Who knows?
Mm.
Yeah, I think the Bears can win 8 games this
So
year.
three 8-win teams. So you look at the Lions, the Bears, and you got the Packers only winning 8 games.
Well, I said at least 8, not only winning 8.
Oh,
They
okay.
could
I see
at
what you're saying.
least
I got you.
win
I got you.
8
I got
games.
you. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Which a lot of people probably shaking their head and thinking I'm crazy, but the NFC North is going to be a lot better than people think, as a whole. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Bold
I like that.
prediction.
That's
Hot
bold.
takes.
Hot
Hot
takes.
takes with hot cakes.
Mm,
Wish I had a hot
delicious.
cake right now. That sounds great. Anyway,
Delicious.
there's a fifth question on here that just is kind of lame. I don't even want to read it because it has to do with Ted Phillips. I don't really
Oh,
give a damn about Ted Phillips.
no, I mean, ask the question. I mean, you kind of like lobbed it up there.
Oh God. Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
it for
Yep.
you. I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
Ted Phillips's tenure as
Mhm.
the Bears president and CEO can be described as blank.
Doo doo. Let's move on. Let's move on. I mean, come on. Just look at the body of work. That's not hard. That's not hard at all.
Yeah.
You put a non-football dude as a dude that got to make football decisions. So
Yeah, I'm looking at the answers that the other guys who wrote this article are giving, and they're kind of giving him credit for how he has handled the business standpoint for the Bears,
there you go. Exactly.
which
Exactly.
I can agree with. I can agree with that. I think he's, you know,
Yeah.
apparently that was his only job, was handling the business aspect of the organization. But I think that was a major flaw in the organization, was the fact that you have a president and CEO only handling,
The bit.
quote unquote, the
Yeah.
business aspect, when
Yeah.
you can have a president and CEO guy who knows football and knows business.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah.
You make it sound so simple. And somehow the Bears just, after all these years, couldn't figure that out. So
Yeah. But what do we know?
right.
We're just fans.
Well, that's all.
We're just fans, just like George McCaskey. I mean, we're
Exactly.
not football evaluators.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to our finale topic, previewing this week 1 matchup. Finally, talking about a meaningful game against the San Francisco 49ers. Shout out to Shah. We kind of snoozed on having her on this episode, a diehard San Francisco 49ers fan. It would have been
Bay
nice to get
fan.
her
Yep.
her thoughts on this one. But anyway, too late to bring her on. She's probably busy. Uh yeah, Bruce, what do you think about this matchup? What are your thoughts?
I mean, the Bears are, I think, a 6.6 and a half
6.5,
underdog.
7, depending on where you
Yeah.
go.
I mean, look, it's a lot of things that's against the Bears, right? San Francisco is favored to be one of the best teams in the NFL. The Bears are 1-7 in their last in their last 8 season openers. 1-7, and that one win. Do you remember what that one win was?
Good lord. The Lions?
Yeah, it was that comeback against the Lions. But for some reason they want to put us against the Packers opening night. They did that for like 3. Then we had the Rams last year. So I don't know. We just want to make it hard on ourselves,
For
just
real.
just from the jump, right? And so here's another team in the 49ers that
At
is just
least it's
like,
not a primetime game, at
right.
least.
Well, that's true. That's true. 12 o'clock kickoff. So everything is against the Bears, man. Everything is against the Bears. I mean, the 49ers, let's give credit where credit is due. They have an amazing roster. They make the playoffs last year if they did not sustain the injuries that they suffered with their key players last year. You look at they probably Bosa is probably one of the top 5 defensive players, period, in football. Their linebacker Warner, right? Fred Warner.
Fred
That's
Warner.
him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And then on that offensive side, man, they got that boy named Debo Samuels who does a little bit of everything, and he's one of the top wide receivers in the game. With that said, the Bears face a daunting challenge, but here's the thing: Trey Lance doesn't scare me. I'm not intimidated by Trey Lance, and so I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think the Bears will definitely hang in there for the majority of the game. Um, but it's interesting because I look at Justin Fields and he's going to be challenged right out the gate. San Francisco has probably one of, if not the best defense in the league, so he's going to be challenged out the gate. Um, our offense is going to be challenged right out the gate, and even our defense, because Kyle Shanahan is probably one of the best offensive coaches in the NFL. The way he schemes and that run zone that they implement in San Francisco, you could put any running back in the backfield and healthy, they'll get 1,000 yards in that system. And and I know Kittle is I think he's dealing with a groin injury, so we don't know what his status is. But man, they got players. They got players, offense and defensive side of the ball, and so it's going to be a challenge for Coach Eberflus to get his guys. And you just want a game. You don't want to blow out. You don't want to blow out, and it's just like the expectations. There is no expectations for the Bears because everybody got them losing this game, so it's no pressure, right? It's no pressure. Just go in, play hard, which I know they're gonna do, and who knows what the outcome is. But I just look at this 49ers team and man, they just from top to bottom, they have a solid team, but it's just one of those games where it's like this is Trey Lance's, it's a battle of first round quarterbacks from a few years back. And is Trey Lance really that dude? And so remember, they passed up Justin Fields and they selected Trey Lance. So I know Justin Fields got a huge chip on his shoulder. And Trey Lance should have a chip on his shoulder as well, because it's just like everybody's talking about Justin Fields in a positive way. But you don't hear that coming out of San Francisco, which is why they had to go and re-sign or figure out the Jimmy Garoppolo situation, because I'm going to make this I'm going to make a crazy prediction, but I don't think Trey Lance finishes the season as the starting quarterback, because they're good at every area except for quarterback. they're proven in every area except for quarterback. I don't want to keep talking about San Francisco. Let me get back to the game. I'm just saying, like, that's how good this team is. And so the Bears, they have a huge, huge challenge in front of them. But I think they're going to stay in the game. They're going to stay in the game. They're going to play hard. And we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, you made some great points. To kind of piggyback off the Trey Lance thing, because I think it's definitely notable. If you don't know the history of Trey Lance, I'm just going to give it to you real quick. So, obviously, he didn't play last year. Jimmy Garoppolo started, and they moved on from Jimmy at the start of this year because they thought they were going to be able to trade him. They couldn't trade him. So they're kind of stuck with him now. They restructured his contract for 1 year. You mentioned it. Instead of trading him or releasing him. And then they stuck with Trey Lance being their starting quarterback. Now, like I said, Trey Lance drafted in the same year as Justin Fields. He was the 3rd overall pick. Came out of North Dakota State, right? Freshman year at North Dakota State. Played 2 games. He attempted 1 pass, completed 1 pass for 12 yards. Okay? Freshman year. That's his only playing time.
Okay.
Sophomore year, he blew up. He threw for 2,786 yards, 28 touchdowns, and here's the kicker in that: 0 interceptions. 0 interceptions. That's what kind of made him blow up and kind of be to add, he had 1,100 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns rushing the ball. So obviously, kid has a monster year, sophomore year. He gets all kinds of hype and blow up, and everyone thought he should have come out after that year. Goes into junior year. Didn't play because of COVID. He wanted to sit out. He played 1 game. Sorry, he played 1 game. Sat out the rest of the year because of COVID. Gets drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, 3rd overall. Doesn't play his entire rookie year. Now he's thrusted into the starting quarterback role in the NFL after basically within the last 3 years only playing 1 of them.
Right.
He's played 1 full season in the last 3 years. And now he's the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, has to go against the Chicago Bears in Chicago on a brand new turf. I don't even want to get into that. But you mentioned it, has Jimmy Garoppolo breathing down his neck if he doesn't have a good game, good season. I'm 100% in agreement with you. I don't think he's going to finish the season. But yeah, he's got Jimmy Garoppolo as QB2 breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I really think this is going to be Justin Fields. Do you remember that Patrick Mahomes game where he came to Chicago and absolutely torched our defense and counted?
1.
He did the whole how many spots we passed him up on.
Yeah.
I think that is Justin Fields' game this week. I think Justin Fields is going to have that Patrick Mahomes revenge game.
Wow, really?
This week. I'm not saying he's going to ball out. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. But I think he's going to have that FU moment to the San Francisco 49ers this season. I mean, you touched on it. I don't really have to go into it in terms of the roster matchup. I mean, obviously they have a way better roster than we do on paper. Another guy that you didn't mention, I'll just throw his name out there, Trent Williams, who was one of the best left tackles in the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they have a damn good roster. The only hole is quarterback.
Yep.
Only hole is quarterback.
Which is, we know, is the most important position, right?
Yes. And the only way that the San Francisco 49ers, the only way I see them winning this game is if they run the ball down our throats, which is how they beat us last year, if you remember. We should have won that game with Justin Fields at the helm if we could have just stopped the damn run. So, given this year, Matt Eberflus, brand new defensive scheme, I really think that Eberflus, and by the way, the Colts, I forgot the statistic. I read it on Twitter, but he does very well against Kyle Shanahan
Mm.
when he was the Colts defensive coordinator. The couple of times he's gone against them. So uh, I think Matt Eberflus has his team ready, his defense ready, especially. I think he's going to make the San Francisco 49ers one dimensional. He's going to force Trey Lance, the guy who started 1 year basically out of the last 3 years, to beat us in Chicago. And I don't think he can do it. I really don't think so. So yeah, I think that's the way the game is going to go. Matt Eberflus stacks the box, makes them pass the ball, and Trey Lance. I think. Listen, and I'm not saying Trey Lance is going to be a bust. I'm not saying I
Right.
don't believe in him. I think he's going to. I think he will figure it out eventually.
Definitely.
But
The
this is,
talent's there.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's obvious there. 28 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. You
Yeah.
can't do that in any college level and not
Right.
have skill.
Right. Exactly.
But this is week 1 of his first year starting in 3 years. So I think that's going to take a toll. I think it's going to be very evident that this kid is not quite ready yet,
Mm.
right now. So yeah, I mean, I think the Bears win this game.
I was just about to say, do you have the Bears winning this game this week,
I don't know
bro?
what it is, man. I must be just
Oh
drinking way too much Chicago Bears Kool-Aid.
man. You
Um,
just you drinking the Kool-Aid and it's like it's
I'm going all
delicious.
in.
So it's just pouring
it's
like
that
just everywhere. Yeah.
it's that
Wow.
Kool-Aid that you see someone make and they don't put like the teaspoons of sugar in. They
Oh,
just take the
they
whole
just took
sugar
the
pack
whole
and they
joint
just
and
pour it in.
yeah, yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's about to be
That's
fire.
about to be
I'm
all
about to
my
be so dehydrated, but that's about to be fire.
all my teeth about to be gone from drinking this Kool-Aid. Wow, you got them winning. Whoa. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And now we
Mm,
can go to score predictions.
yeah.
Um, being that I have them winning, I think it's a low scoring game.
Uh-huh.
San Francisco has a really, really good defense. And I think Trey Lance is going to handicap what Kyle Shanahan can do offensively, even though he's an offensive genius. No amount of offensive genius can overcome bad quarterback play. And I don't think they run it down the Bears' throat the way that they did last year. So I have the Bears winning this game 20-13.
Mm,
Week 1 win. Statement win for Justin Fields.
wow.
Bruce.
I think the that just I'm sorry,
Drop the
that threw
mic.
me off. Yeah, that one, the way you was talking about it, I was just like, does he really got them winning this week? Oh my God. I think the Bears play hard. I think they play hard, they play smart. But it's just one of those things for me where it's the talent difference is going to make a difference. And again, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. But I do have San Fran winning 24-20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I would be happy with that.
Oh,
If the
bro, me
Bears
too.
listen, no one
Yeah.
expects. I don't expect a whole lot of wins this year. I expect them to be better than people think, and I'm not even. I don't even care about their win loss record this
Yeah.
year
Same.
because if they win a lot of games, it means Justin Fields is doing his damn thing and he's
Yeah.
become the quarterback we all think he is going to be. If they don't win a whole lot of games, it means a high first round draft pick.
Hmm.
You have to hope that Justin Fields at least showed some signs of improvement. But it just means that they just weren't good enough this year.
Right.
So either way, I think it's a win-win situation for this Bears team. So if they can play with the 49ers this Sunday and not, like you said, not get blown out, play with them, have a chance, uh, I think I'll be happy. Win or lose, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Me
And
too.
if
Me
Justin
too.
Fields, shows the kind of builds off of that preseason game that he had in Cleveland and it shows us some promise right off the gate. I'm gonna love it. I'll be
Definitely.
happy.
Wow. I'm still, because it's usually the other way around. You know that.
It is the
I'll,
other
I'll,
way
I'll
around
be,
usually.
I'll be dropping scores like
I'm
Bears
usually
win 74-6, and you'll be like, okay, B, calm down, relax.
yo, that I'll never forget that year after 2018. You were predicting every single I was
Oh,
like, the Bears are
we
going 16-0.
we
What is
going
that?
22-0 preseason. We winning everything. We not losing. You want to talk about drinking
Oh my
Kool-Aid? My
yeah,
God,
you was gulping the
yeah.
Kool-Aid. Um,
Get your thirsty ass out of here.
oh man.
Oh man.
But yeah, I just like I said, um, in the beginning of the year, this regime is giving me AK Mark Eversley vibes that they gave us with the Bulls,
Hmm.
and the true Bulls fans saw it and they saw something different. It was just a different vibe, and look what the Bulls did. Now they
Yeah.
didn't. They started off hot. They didn't end of the year that. Not to talk about the Bulls as a Bears podcast, but anyway, I'm just trying to compare and contrast
Hmm.
the way they started the year. We were like, okay, this is definitely different. They're showing evidence that this is different, and I'm just getting the same vibe with Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, Luke Getzey. This regime has just shown a lot of contrast to the way that this, and I'm not just talking about Van Nagy. I'm talking about multitude of previous coaches that have come and gone
Yeah.
in Chicago. It just seems very, very, very different. Coaches and GMs. So
I'm with it. Hey,
yeah,
I'm not. I'm bro. If yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm shocked, but I'm with it.
yeah, and obviously I'm hoping I don't get disappointed this year. But again, even though it seems like I'm thinking Super Bowl, Super Bears, I'm not. I God, I won't be disappointed if the Bears only win 5 or 6 games.
Right.
As long as the only thing, listen, the only thing I care about is Justin Fields and his improvement. That's it.
Agreed.
If he turns out to be the quarterback we all thought, and he's making improvement, he's making good choices, he's doing his thing, but the Bears win 4 or 5 games, I'm not mad about it. So that's all I care about.
Yeah, I agree. I agree,
So we'll
man.
see. We will
Yeah.
see. I think it's going to be a fun year. Um, we have a lot. I mean, obviously, we're going to break down this game next week after it happens, get our reactions. We'll go through the stats and the coaching decisions and everything, just like we did with Deep Dish and Sports for those of y'all who followed us there. So expect a lot of I wouldn't say arguing, but a lot of contradicting opinions as me
Definitely.
and Bruce usually have during football season. So
Yes. Yes.
it will be
Yes.
interesting.
Looking
Will be
forward to
interesting.
that.
Me too. Give y'all some good content, stuff to look forward to. But yeah. Anyway, don't ride along with us on this season ride. I don't even know if it's going to be bumpy or if it's going to be smooth. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Um, but ride along with us anyway. Like I said, this is a Bears only podcast now, so we're going to be covering all things Bears throughout the entire season, no matter what happens. So stick with us. We appreciate anyone who's continuing to support. If you listen to this episode, watched it live, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Uh, Bruce, you have anything you want to add about the Bears? I was
I'm
about to close out the show. I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't
you
even
good.
let you
Look, I'm
give your
still
final
sitting over
thoughts.
here. I'm still sitting over here, just like rubbing my head with the fact
Baffled.
that you got them winning, man. Like I'm because this don't happen. This don't happen. And watch they win. Watch they win, and I'm gonna be so upset because I say year in, year out since we've been doing this damn show. I always go with the dumbest score, and I'll be serious, and you like B, no, they're gonna lose, and you finally the one year you picked them to win, and they're gonna win. Watch, and I'm gonna be happy but salty at the same time. Cause I'm like, this dude's always right. He's always right.
Oh
God,
man. Yeah, I hope I'm right. I really hope
yeah.
I'm right
Me
this
too.
time.
Me too. Real talk. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Should
Shout
be
out to
fun.
Sha. If y'all lose, expect to hear from us. If
Yeah,
y'all win, expect don't not to hear from us
yeah.
because we'll be
Don't.
silent. Uh,
God, they just winning, and she just winning. Just Warriors winning championships, and then she get,
oh,
man, just stop. Leave us alone.
spoiled over there on
Yeah.
the West Coast. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk at y'all next week about breaking down this game. Hopefully, it's a positive vibe after a dub victory Monday.
Indeed.
But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace.